The British Empire, the United Kingdom, or whatever acronym you want to give them, must never be trusted when you are seeking for liberation. Let us listen to the statement of the Vice President of the United States today on what it thinks about the United Kingdom.
I was talking about, what is the first truly Islamist country that will get a nuclear weapon? And we were like, maybe it's Iran, maybe Pakistan already kind of counts. And then we sort of finally decided maybe it's actually the UK, since Labour just took over.
Welcome back. Now you can see in that statement of J.D. Vance, it said that the United Kingdom, or the British Empire as they were known as, are being cunning and of course being sneaky to use bad people just for them to retain power. As of today, in the Western Europe, the United Kingdom is projected to become the first Islamic state, because what we have in UK now is the Muslims who were invited under the leadership of the Labour Party, then the Conservative Party, who invited the Muslim migrants because of cheap labor, because they wanted to exploit them, because they felt that the Muslim populations who lived in Afghanistan, in Pakistan, in Palestine were less educated, and they let them in for that cheap labor. Today have now become so large in population and become uncontrollable. We can see now that this is why the British Empire, if you look at the past of the Nigerian government, of the Nigerian society, why the British told the Fulani'S, told the Northerners that for them to be relevant and for them to be the closest ally of the British Empire, they must go in droves into the Nigerian military, into the Nigerian police force. The British Empire were the people that told the Fulani elements that for as far as the Nigerian politics is concerned, seeing fully well that the Northerners are way behind in education, but for any reason, if they want to remain relevant, they must ensure that they are the majority in the aforementioned parastatals agencies that I mentioned, which are the military, which are the police, the customs, the Air Force, and so forth. Now is the reason, and that is the reason why I said, you as a Biafra, you as an Oduduwa nation, never you trust the British when you are seeking for your own liberation. The reason is because they are known to be chronic exploiters. As far as the European issue is concerned, the British Empire, the United Kingdom, have been exploiting the United States of America. Regarding the Ukraine-Russia conflict, we have seen how the British Empire have always laid back, having the United States contribute up to $315 billion for a war that should never have happened. The reason is simple, because the Western Europe, specifically, because the British needed a place they could destabilize, they needed a place they could go and perpetuate their evil. The same thing is what they are doing in the Nigerian society. Today, the people that amalgamated Nigeria to be the mixed two unrelated blood, the North and South together, who has the best chances to separate us peacefully, which is the British Empire. The point is, the only reason why they will never push for that agenda, push for the separation of the Nigerian nation, is because the British Empire understand that their best ally in this contraption, which are the Northern Fulani'S, will forever and ever, because they want to remain, they want to be seen as the top, as the special breed, as the supreme ethnicity, they will not let that separation happen. And the Fulani's will do everything possible to ensure that every other ethnic group is suppressed, subjected, subdued to their own beck and call. I repeat once again, for every nation that sincerely seek for our freedom, for people who sincerely want to go, they must understand that the Western Europe, the United Kingdom, is never your friend, should never be trusted. The same British Empire are the ones that betrayed Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, who is a citizen of the United Kingdom since his incarceration for over 3 to 4 years now, the British Empire have never for a day written a letter to the Nigerian government to question, why are you holding that man unjustly? If you go back 50-something years ago, during the Civil War, the Biafra-Nigerian Civil War, we perfectly understand how the Nigerian government were able to defeat the Biafra. It was solely because the British Empire sided with the northern Fulani'S. They gave them armories, they gave them guns, fighter jets, which they used to subdue and, of course, to destroy all the major and massive monumental developments that were achieved in the Southeast. In the Southeast, as at 1950s, they were at least 40 years ahead of the North. Likewise, the West. The East was termed as one of the most developed regions in Nigeria. They were termed to be highly innovative and disruptive, even in their politics. The British people saw this and they said, let us embrace these people who were naturally submassive or submissive. These were the mistakes they felt they could make, or these were the things they thought they could do with the Palestinians, the Afghanistans, the Armenians, majority of who are Muslims, who migrated into UK, who today now have become a thorn in their flesh. There's a saying that goes, you cannot sow bitter leaf and expect sugarcane to grow. The British Empire, which for so many centuries have been able to conquer people by divide and rule, whom came into Nigeria to create a contraption which should never have been. The greatest asset the British Empire, or should I say the United Kingdom, have in Africa today is in Nigeria. The Nigerian country or nation is the most successful business empire or business entity the British people have. And this is why they will ensure that their guardian, the protector of that their investment, which are the Northern Fulani's, will always have a say. Let me tell you, if the British wanted to assist Nigeria to stop terrorism, I tell you, they would have exposed how the money flows. Because we agree that the amount of corruption, the amount of money looted in Nigeria, 70% of them ends up in the United Kingdom. It doesn't end up in the United Kingdom, it ends up in Switzerland. It doesn't end up in Switzerland, then they are taken to the United States of America. But we know that the Britain is a safe haven for the corrupt elements that we have in Nigeria. Talking about the Fulani's and their hegemony and why the British continues to help them. Today in the Senate, back home in Nigeria, the tax reform bill that the Tinubu regime has always wanted to pass, wherein if you are not working, you do not deserve to earn money, today has been passed. And we saw how the southern senators and reps fought against the northern House of Reps, who were aggressively against that bill. But again, Tinubu has understood the mentality of the Fulani's. He is playing them using their own tricks and kicks by using their own brother, who is a sellout. The Speaker of House of Rep is a stooge to the Tinubu administration. Of course, probably he has been given his own prize. But what we know is the tax bill is now being pushed further. And what we can hear from the North is the cry of rejection and antagonism. That tax bill, where if it ever gets passed, it will push Nigeria into what we call anarchy and chaos. By all means, we who are on the side of revolution, whatever Tinubu will do that will push Nigeria into that projected anarchy is what we will support. Because we cannot continue like this. We cannot continue to be a subject of those that are not the best of us. We can no longer be subjected because they are enjoying the British backings, the British coverage. Then we who are intellectuals in the South are subjected to the inefficiencies, to the incompetencies of the Northerners. No matter what you want to say, as far as Nigeria is concerned, I am not a believer of a Nigeria as it is structured. I will be a believer of Nigeria when it is restructured, when it is reformed, when it has been revolutionized. Then yes, I will become a full-blown believer and an advocate of Nigeria. But as it stands today, this Nigeria has been structured by the British Empire to only favor their greatest allies who are in the North. And that was the mistake they made when they brought in those Muslim immigrants who today are now threatening their peace. But if you want to use that same scope or that same lens to justify what is going in Nigeria, the British gave some critical advice, some critical expose to the Fulani's. And the Fulani's have seen that the only way they will remain relevant in Nigeria is for them to hold on and hold firmly to all those parastatals. The military, the police, they don't joke with it. Then you go to the customs. Those things is more or less like their birthright. And it is because the British Empire gave them that very bad advice. The British Empire never advised them that they needed to study hard so that they could be the best among their peers, solely based on a meritocracy. British pushed nepotism, bigotry, integrated what we call favoritism. You will recall that when Nigeria was about to gain its independence, the Sardauna and Tafawa Balewa, they had conversations with Nnamdi Azikiwe and Awolowo. They said, if you want us to go, there's only one thing that we require. First and foremost, we are going to have a commission or a structure that is called the quota system, or in other words, that is called the Federal Character Commission, which will hereby jettison meritocracy. It is going to be, this person is from this place, let us appoint him, whether he has the capacity or not, because we have now adopted the quota system, so is it going to be. They also gave another condition. That condition was, we must infuse the Sharia into our constitution. And here we are today, after 64 to 65 years later, Nigeria is polarized. We have the North operating the penal laws, whereby we have the South operating the criminal laws. In the North, some aspect of the North, the Sharia law holds supreme. In states like Kano, in states like Zamfara, Katsina, a woman cannot walk on the street without covering her body. Doesn't matter if you're a Christian or a Muslim. There is a law that has been institutionalized that when you are walking on the streets of the north, you must put on a wave or an overall. And this is what is now backfiring. I am so happy because when you think you can perpetuate evil and you will not reap such evil in equal measure or even in multiple measures, then you are only deluding yourself. What we see today is the United Kingdom is about to be reconquered. They have never been conquered by the Islamic Caliphate. When the Ottoman empires were in their reigns, were in their apex, the British Empire was not touched. They remained untouched. But they were selling firearms to the Ottoman Empire. They were giving them technology for warfare. They taught them how to build ships because they felt for as long as those people kept conquering, they would give them their own spoils of war. And we saw that the British was never conquered. But again, today, they felt that when they import these Islamic migrants, maybe they could just use them and then over a long period of time, they'll discard them. This happened over a period of 20 years where massive numbers of people got themselves from Iran, Iraq, Afghanistan, Armenia, Malaysia. These are major Islamic states. They moved themselves into the UK. And within a period of 20 years, they have given birth to more people. They are the one now more populous. They have more politicians in the United Kingdom politics. And today, they now had the impetus to start demanding for Sharia governed states, or should I say Sharia governed provinces, places like Bradford, places like Winchester. These are places that the Muslim populations are now very vocal and they are demanding. These people are no longer immigrants because they've stayed in UK for over a period of 20 years. They have children who are now citizens. And by extension, they also have been given permanent residence. So they see themselves as what? Naturalized citizens. They can question the Queen of England. Indeed, karma will not let you lie low without visiting you after you have committed so many atrocities and evil. And finally, we must commend the Donald Trump administration because the Donald Trump administration has taken upon itself that they will continue to expose every financier of evil across the world. The Donald Trump regime has vowed to expose the major financiers of terrorism across the globe. And in this instance, we can see how the British Empire, what role they play in keeping Nigeria in this terrible state that she is. I repeat, the British Empire were sincere. If they truly wanted Nigeria to move forward, as it were, sure, they would have used their means as the Nigerian guarantee in the United Nations and invite the Nigerian leaders from the southwest, from the south-south, from the southeast, that they should sit down on a round table, that they should conduct a referendum. And if that referendum guarantees that Nigeria should be splitted, then that will be the case. Because this is what Donald Trump is doing in Ukraine today. I haven't seen how Ukraine stands no chance to defeat Russia. Donald Trump has called that Zelensky should conduct an election. And if he's popular, let his people decide. And if he's unpopular, whoever comes on board will decide the fate of the state. And why is that? Because the United States of America is a very critical and a very pivotal ally to Ukraine. UK, who happens to be our biggest ally in the Western Europe, have betrayed us because they have an ally that they can eternally control. Because those people are short-minded and short-sighted, and because they cannot see beyond their nose. The British continue to use the Northern Fulani's. And the Northern Fulani's think they are relevant, not knowing that they are being used, they are being exploited, and of course they are being abused by the British Empire.
Or this system that we live under, which we do not accept, will end. ثم تكون خلافة على منهج النبوة. That same Islamic system, that Islamic society will return in the best way possible على منهج النبوة, upon the manhaj, upon the method of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And inshallah we study his seerah, we study the Islam, we follow his methodology, and which is the perfect methodology. So no one can say, if Islam is perfect, no one can say that Islam cannot be implemented today because the system has changed, reality has changed. Every one of us implements Islam in our daily lives, in every aspect of it, صح? So naturally, if we believe that Islam is how to eat, how to sleep, how to treat your family, it's political, it's economical, it has judiciary, it has foreign affairs, it has everything to it. So if we want to change the system, we look at, okay, what is the problem, the core problem, the proper solution, and how to implement that.